Welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2020 show. We are, as usual, at the Grant King Race Shops at 8155 Crawfordsville Road in Indianapolis. If and when things ever open up, you need to stop by here. It is a working museum. The collection of cars they have on display now is spectacular, but we can't take pictures of them because they don't want us to. So if you get a chance, you want to come down here, by all means. When things open up, it's got to be a stop. Today's show is presented by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, NTT IndyCar Series, SVRA, and McGilvery's Pub in Speedway. And if you haven't been there, it is spectacular. You need to go check it out. We have a new computer guy. It's A+ Affordable Computer Doctor. Why is he a doctor? Because in my days, doctors made house calls. Steve Freeze will make a house call if necessary. Give him a call. Tell him what your problem is. If necessary, he can stop by. Number is 317-328-0766. And if you have the need to see your favorite doctor, the dentist, take my word for it. The Indy Dental Group is the best place to go. Dr. Jack Miller, Indy 500 veteran, and his wife, Dr. Liv Lewis, have the top-rated practice in the state. Make an appointment. Number is 317-846-6125. And if you ever wonder what it's like to drive your favorite car on your favorite track, from dirt track midgets at the Chili Bowl to Formula One cars at Nürburgring, Indy Simulation can put you in the driver's seat of their SimX Experience full motion race simulator. Take your choice of over 160 cars and tracks in iRacing, the same simulation professional drivers use to race their real world rivals. Learn new tracks and stay sharp between races. Visit indysim.com today to book your free demonstration drive. If you've ever wanted to say, what's it like to be in an Indy car? You can take a ride in the two-seater, the Indy Racing Experience two-seater. Go to indyracingexperience.com and find out when and where they're running. And in the promo box, put DK1, you get a 50% discount. Or you can call Shonda at 317-243-7171. If it's time to get insurance for your home, your car, or your commercial property, Mike Pardee at VP Insurance can help you. They're the place to go. They're located at 5004 West 16th Street in Speedway. Their number is 317-248-0070. Talk to Mike, see what he can do and give you better coverage for less money. That's VP Insurance in Speedway. And do yourself a favor, if you're a vintage car fan or if you're into back to the rebirth of the Trans Am, the SVRA is a place to go. So go to svra.com and subscribe to their fabulous magazine. It's called Speed Tour. And while you're there, look at the schedule, see when and where they're running. It's a great event, good time. If you get a chance to go, I recommend you go. Are you into vintage cars or would you like to get one? The Grant King shop can help you. If you need one, they can find it. And they have some actually. Or if you have one that needs to be restored, they can do that for you too. Give them a call. Number is 317-820-3595. That's the Grant King shop, 317-820-3595. Now, my guest is a gentleman that I mentioned in a Facebook and email I sent out. I got a tour of the Speedway, the updated Speedway. And of all people to come out of the elevator to lead the charge was the president and CEO of Penske Enterprises, none other than Mr. Mark Miles. And Mark brought along this gentleman to tell us what was done, how they did it, where they did it, and so forth. His name is Pat Garlock, and we're welcoming you to the show for the first time. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, Don.
What you do is in the construction and engineering field. What kind of education have you had prior to coming here?
So, Don, I graduated from North Central High School in 2006 on the north side of Indianapolis, and then went on to actually didn't study anything in the facilities or construction world, but I went to Indiana University and graduated from IU in 2010 with a sport communication and business administration minor from IU. And after college, post-college, I got into the sports and entertainment industry from a operations and management role, traveling the country to large marquee events throughout the country. And one of those large properties that I worked for was the IndyCar series. So familiar with IMS, traveling with the series. That was kind of for the first 5 to 6 years out of college, that's what I did. I did take a slight break, and for 2 years, I owned a asphalt maintenance business here locally in Indianapolis. We did residential and commercial asphalt seal coating and crack sealing here on the north side of town, and just decided that long term it probably wasn't. It was too much of a seasonal business long term. So I decided that I wanted to get back in the sports and entertainment field, and there's no better place to do it than in your hometown. And there was a position available within the facilities department here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in April of 2018. So jumped on the opportunity. Mark Miles is a family friend of ours, and he let us know that this position was available, and he kind of took me under his wing, and I've been with the facilities department now for just over 2 years, but this will be my third 500 on the IMS side.
When you came to work here, it was prior to the change in stewardship to Roger Penske taking over in the Penske Entertainment Group. How has your job changed since in January when that transition took place?
I will say the Holman Company was fabulous to work for, but I will say from a standpoint of capital expenditures, large projects, that has increased probably double or triple since Penske Entertainment has taken over in January. Roger is committed to making the fan experience or the consumer experience better here, and as you saw, Don, earlier this week, he's touched just about everything, and we're not done yet. It's just the start, I believe.
First thing we looked at when we started our tour was the picnic tables outside Gate 1, and you said pick one up. Holy smoke, they got to be 600-700 pounds if they're an ounce, and Mark had mentioned, I think you did as well, they will withstand a hurricane. You don't have to take them down. They're not going anywhere. And they're
Right.
Scattered throughout the property.
Yes, sir. So we actually, part of that project, I think we bought 75 of those picnic tables, and then we assembled those in-house, and then we placed those at Gate 1, Gate 9, and then in the Pagoda Plaza, where that new 100-foot board media wall is on the back of the pagoda. So we've kind of spaced them out. I believe there's approximately 25 at Gate 1, 25 at Gate 9, and then 25 in the plaza area, give or take a few here and there.
Well, the interesting thing was the ones by Gate 9, you had to pour concrete and set them on a concrete base. And there's a concession right nearby, so it's a family-oriented thing. Go get a hamburger or a hot dog and sit down and enjoy it. Because from what we saw on the tour was what's about an hour and a half, is Roger's intention is family-friendly. He wants to make families welcome, in addition to the race fans that have been coming, 1 and 2 and 3 in their group and enjoying it for 100 years. He wants to make sure it's family friendly and the kids will enjoy it.
Absolutely. That is well said. Roger is not only committed to your average fan, but the long-standing fan, but he wants to generate new fans as well. And that's family is big to him from what I've seen since January, since they've been on board.
Now, when he gets an idea, you guys work on a project. Is it something he says, I want this color up here, this color down here, here's what we're going to do? Or does it take give and take until the final decision is made?
No, I think, I joke about it, and Roger's the creative director here. So he's had this vision, or he has a vision, and he will get that to either me or Mark or John Lewis, who's in charge of the facilities department. And then we will mock up just about anything before we execute or implement a project. So he likes to put his eyes on it. And yes, we do tweak it a couple times before we get to that end result. before we kind of go and implement across the facility.
It was interesting, the list that I got from you of the amount of material that's been used on the property, like 3,000, what was it, 3,000 gallons of paint,
Yes, sir.
2,500 tons of concrete. They've spared nothing. They've added the scoreboards underneath the paddock penthouse area so that the people in the paddock on the main straight can see what's going on from the scoreboard, which is phenomenal. And I think, to me, that made those seats now better, much better, because now you can see what's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. He has not missed a beat since he's got here. He's thought of everything, like I told you and Roger earlier this week. He has walked every square inch of this place, and there with that come ideas and projects, and that's one of them that has come full circle. So he's so passionate about this place, and it's just finally cool to see it kind of all come full circle. The most rewarding thing for us will be when the fans can experience it. We've worked tirelessly to get the place to where it is today, but the ultimate reward will be when the fans get to experience it for themselves.
Well, after the tour, I wrote a piece about my experience with you and with Mark and what I saw and what you showed us and so forth. And obviously it hit a lot of people. I'm surprised at how many people saw it and passed it on and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of them are saying, I can't wait till next year. I definitely will be there. I want to see this place. It is phenomenal what's happened. And like you said, he's not done yet. And the interesting thing also is, I've been told by those who attend the staff meetings, he's not looking at this as, oh, gee. He's looking at it as an opportunity. Let's go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Before you brought me on, I was with Roger and John Lewis, the head of the facilities department. And we were just, the place looks phenomenal, but we're not done yet. And we were just brainstorming on ideas on how we can continue to get better, whether it's, laying new sod in places where we might have some dead spots, whether it's, the ideas are endless, and the place is so big. So there's always something that we can do to get better. The level of expectation has been set. And now it's about continuing that expectation across the board.
Well, something interesting. I got some friends who live on either side of that open piece of property to the west of the Speedway. That's open, and they use it for RV parking during race time. And both people on the other side said, you know what? They cut that grass, whether it needs it or not, once a week.
Absolutely.
They're out there with their weed whackers. One friend of mine had to go all the way around the block to come out and cut the weeds out against his fence. He said, I don't do that anymore. They do it. They got people that take care of that. And, it seems that he doesn't miss anything, and he wants everything right. You told us as we toured the restrooms, you will find that you no longer will have paper towels that'll be all over the floor. The waste can is mounted to the wall, and all restrooms have electric hand dryers. Yeah,
it'll help us with the housekeeping aspect. I have a huge hand in that here. Usually we have nonprofit groups on a normal year that would help us with our housekeeping operations throughout the facility when we're open, and then post-race cleanup. But obviously with no fans, we're relying on a temporary staffing agency to help us execute that this year. But it will certainly help with those hand dryers. We won't accumulate that much paper in the restrooms. But yeah, I mean, it'll just be night and day for somebody that was here in 2019 who now will come see it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, 2021.
Well, another thing,
potentially
in October.
Potentially this October. We'll just have to wait and see what the numbers do on that.
The other thing that impressed me is he had a pretty good size media board mounted on the pagoda, and that's gone. There's a 100 by 18 foot new screen up there. So what did they do? Junk the other one? No, they put it in turn 7, so people watching road races on the hills can see what's going on behind them. Nothing has been missed, hardly.
Yep. And then that second one that came off of the pagoda is now at gate 1. And it's over there where you can sit at those picnic tables where we first started our tour, Don. You got to see that board that came off the pagoda as well. So you're right. We didn't toss those away or put them in storage. We repurposed those throughout the facility in high traffic areas where fans can enjoy those.
Are you anticipating a decent sized crowd on Sunday to watch and listen to the race and watch it on the screen?
Are you talking about at the facility or
Yes, yes.
people at their homes?
No, at the facility.
So inside the track, it will be very similar how we executed the Brickyard this year in July. It's deemed as essential personnel only.
Right.
So I think we will have maybe a few more people on site than the Brickyard because some of the race team sponsors will have access to the pagoda, but it's going to be a very minimal crowd in the pagoda. So it'll be very similar inside the gates like it was for the Brickyard, but this is the Indy 500. I would expect there's going to be fans and families lining either Georgetown Road or 16th Street to potentially watch those Jumbotrons outside the gates.
And of course, with the one at gate 1, you can sit at the picnic tables and around that area and watch it from there. So I bet there'll be a pretty good crowd on Sunday.
Yeah, we actually have taken measures with our safety and security department. We will have ESG, the staffing agency that helps with our security. We're actually going to surround the perimeter, just so there's nobody hopping fences and things like that. Obviously, we want the fans to be here, but unfortunately, we're living through the pandemic, and that's not doable at this time. So we have to take the preventative protocols to make sure that the facility is secured.
Yeah, and of course, nobody would ever jump a fence. That was never heard of. I knew guys in my day that crawled under the fence. They dug a hole and crawled under the fence.
Yeah.
But I got to think there'll be a good crowd because there's something about hearing the noise and you get a little smell of the fuel and so forth, and then to watch them on the Jumbotron at the facility, I think we'll draw a pretty good crowd.
I would agree with you. I call it music to my ears, and I'm sure that's pretty cliche, but there's something about those cars going around the track. There's nothing like it.
Now down in between turn 3 and 4, there's a triangular board up there. I understand there's something going to be done to change that as well. But Mark said it's a secret. I can't tell you, but it won't be long. It'll be done. So nothing is escaping, obviously. Everything, what I mentioned to people is you can't believe everything's been painted. Everything, including the guardrail for the road course. It's all been painted.
Yeah, absolutely. Roger has, like I said earlier, Roger has this vision, and once we got the look and feel down, it was one project after another, and his color scheme or paint scheme has kind of stayed throughout the entire facility. So what people will realize and notice that there's a consistent look and feel throughout the entire facility now.
And the interesting thing, some of the concession stands are near washrooms, and there's water lines that feed them all, and they used to be kind of rusted and so forth. They've all been scraped clean and painted. Everything. Air ducts have been painted. It's amazing the change in the two colors. I understand getting settled on the two colors wasn't the easiest project. He kept a little darker, a little lighter, up, down. That wasn't an easy project, but obviously it got done.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's what's been so cool for me in my role, is to help get to that point with Roger and his team, and getting to the finish line. That's great satisfaction, is when we're able to do it in-house and get the results that his team's looking for. So yes, there are challenges getting there at times, but we might nail it the first time, but it might take 5 times. So you just don't know. One day Roger might be feeling that look or that feel, and then the next day he might change his mind. So I would say it evolves and it's ever changing. but once he finds something he likes, he pretty much sticks to it.
And another interesting thing, I was talking to Mark before we went out on our tour, and he said that he was to meet, I think it was last Saturday, to meet Roger in the office at 8 o'clock. So he said he got there at 7. So that wasn't good enough. Roger had gotten there in 6 and toured the entire property prior to their meeting. And he says he does that all the time. He'll come in, he'll get here early, he'll go check everything.
Yep.
Unreal. Nothing gets by him. And like you said, it's obvious he has a love affair with this place and wants it to be nothing but the best. Now, Hallman George family did a great job, but he has come in and taken a different track and has changed it completely. And it's fabulous. I mean, when you get a chance to get here, be it the Harvest Grand Prix or next year's 500, you've got to see it. This place is spectacular.
Yeah, we certainly feel like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, IndyCar, and IMS Productions is in great hands with being part of Penske Entertainment. Roger's work ethic and his team, they're relentless. They work so hard and they care so much already about the 3 properties within Penske Entertainment. So it's been awesome to kind of see it change since January. And I think it's for the better. The fans are going to enjoy it, I think. So we are super excited for them to be able to experience it on their own when that time comes.
Does the property that he purchased, does that include the Coke lot, property surrounding the Coke lot?
So I don't want to talk particulars, but I know there's a portion of the business that is ran by Georgetown Realty Group, and I believe the Coke lot is part of that. But I don't know specifics on that. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you on that.
That's all right. I've been asked that, and I said, guess what? I don't know either. I just thought I'd ask.
I do know between essentially the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and Georgetown Realty Group, we have about 1,000 acres of property that we maintain. But the Coke lot, I believe, is part of Georgetown Realty. Who owns that? Unfortunately, I do not know.
Okay, well, that's fine. When you went to school and you graduated, did you ever have in the back of your mind, I'd love to work at IMS? Did it ever cross your mind you'd come here?
Absolutely. As a kid, I grew up going to the races with my folks. They would bring me. I first started coming, and we would sit on the family mounds in turn 2 or the mounds in turn 3 when they built those. So we started in the infield, and I loved the place growing up, and I loved the cars, and I followed it. I followed it since being a young kid. So to say that I thought down the road I could see myself working here, that's probably not the case. But I did tell myself when I sold my construction company that if I was going to get back in the sports and entertainment business, I was only going to do it in Indianapolis. And to be honest, I couldn't land it at a better place than the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So it was probably going to be here, the Pacers, the Colts, or the Indians. And I'm thrilled to be where I'm at.
What part of it, you're the assistant manager of facilities and events. What part, how does the events, what is your job with that?
So I kind of have a 2-part job. So within the facilities department, my main role is to manage our carpenter shop, paint shop, and plumbing shop. And then from an event side of my job, my role is to coordinate all of our temporary rentals and services to help execute and implement throughout the event. So, for instance, I'm in charge of coordinating all of the housekeeping for the month of May, or what this month is, the month of August. I'm in charge of ordering all the portalets, all the generators, all the light towers. So it's this, obviously this year it's been a bit different because we haven't been able to have fans. So it hasn't been as much, we haven't relied on as many vendors or contractors to provide those temporary rentals or services. But in a normal year, I'm coordinating that for the entire facility, all of our concerts, anything that goes on at the facility where there's a need. I'm kind of the point man for whether it's our internal departments or other people coming on property.
So if Allison says we've got such and such a group and they're world renowned, it's up to you to get the seating and the staging and the lighting and all that put together. So when
Yes,
they
sir.
arrive and they turn the switch on, everything's ready to go.
Absolutely. Yep. So I would coordinate all those deliveries, the load in and the load out of those assets, and make sure that once, for instance, let's say NBC needed a light tower in our TV compound, I'd coordinate that with one of our vendors and make sure that that was there before they pulled into town. And when they leave town, I'll schedule a pickup. So that's a big majority of my job when it comes from the events side of it. But as you can imagine, there's so many moving pieces out here. And we have a lot of, we rely on a lot of contractors and vendors to help us execute our events out here. Whether it be ATMs or tents or trailers, that all funnels through me.
And when I asked about the painting, you said, yeah, you had used 7 contractors to paint this place, because it ain't small.
No,
you don't come out with a couple of paintbrushes and paint this joint. It's big.
Right.
And
so I have an internal staff of 7 full-time painters, and obviously with what we've done out here, we could have never done that with 7 in-house painters. So we had to outsource quite a bit of what you got to see, you and Roger, to contractors, and we kind of split that up amongst 7 different contractors. So everybody was busy out here. Literally, once Roger bought the place and the papers were signed, I mean, the ball was already rolling before that, but I mean, we kind of broke ground on these construction projects late January, early February. So we've been flat out nonstop, since he took over.
And you mentioned you have 7 painters on staff, and it was mentioned that anytime they come in, you said they're going to shut them down about every hour for about 10 minutes clean, and
Yes,
if they
sir.
find any graffiti, the next day it'll be gone.
Yep, that's the level of expectation. So we've yet to have fans here, so we don't know exactly how that process will work. But yes, we will be equipped with marking out the graffiti if it comes to that.
The other thing that impressed us as we were leaving, heading back to the admin building at the conclusion of our tour, Mark said, stop the cart, stop. And he walked back and picked up a flattened soda can. You guys started on and went another, 20, 30 feet, and you stopped and reached over and picked up a candy wrapper. And you said at the time, that's one of our primary jobs. When you're walking around, if you see it, pick it up. So
Yep.
fortunately, as Roger and I were going along, we found a piece of plastic on the ground, so we picked it up.
Yeah, and that's much appreciated. It's, I hate to look at it as like everybody's a trash man, but everybody can do their part. We can all stop and take 2 seconds to make the place look a little bit better. And where in the past we might have driven by that, now the expectation is, hey, take 5 seconds out of your day and let's pick up that can or that candy wrapper or that clear piece of plastic. And you know what? It just goes a long way when you and your team are pulling and pushing in the same direction. And that's been, I think, a huge help with doing that.
It kind of reminded me as we're doing that, and your comment about it as we were going along reminds me of Disney World. Many people have always commented, you look around, there's nothing there, but there's people running around with brooms and stuff picking up. And that's what this place is looking like. It's clean. It's going to remain that way. And I think, what's the deal to bend over and pick something up and throw it? The other thing impressive is by concession stands, they have dumpsters. Well, Roger doesn't like to see a dumpster sitting there, so he's got a fence around it. You can't see it.
Yeah.
I went, geez Louise.
Everything is clean and tidy, straight. the attention to detail. I mean, that is what I have learned is most important to him. And whether it's our internal department or departments trying to execute with that expectation, or us trying to get contractors or vendors to live up to that expectation, that's what we're asking. And the bar is very high, but it will only help us to put on the greatest race and to host at the greatest facility.
Well, I think you absolutely are right. There was talk early on that there could be lights installed in like a 12-hour race or something. Is there anything been mentioned about that recently?
Not of recent. I think Roger, those conversations were probably a little bit above my head at this time, but I think Roger does have every intention of, bringing new things to the Speedway, and, whether that be lights or not, to be seen, I think. But I think to host an endurance race, a 24-hour endurance race, that would be super cool for our fans. But I think that's down the road. But the ideas won't stop. I know that for sure.
Well, all I can tell you is in the 90-minute tour I got, it's absolutely, I'm telling people, you've got to see it. When you get here, you won't believe it. Your eyes aren't going to, you say, good grief, am I still at the Speedway? Yes, and it's really something. You and your people and John Lewis have done a phenomenal job. I want you to, since you said you came from a meeting with Roger, if he's there, tell him I thank him for your time to do this.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's been fun. It was really exciting for me, and I've been coming here since 1964 to drive through there and look at this and go, holy smoke, unbelievable. And they went so far. We were standing on Victory. Oh, yeah, I got to mention it. Victory Lane now, Victory Circle, Victory. It used to have it still has a big platform in front to raise a car, which I think they only did once that I can remember, maybe twice. Roger has installed one to the south of it, just to the right as you're facing it, to raise the car up and get it on the flat part. And then the old piece that was there, that was designed initially to raise the car, now has a little grandstand for the photographers. So now they can get up. The fencing, a little barrier that comes out so they don't get that in the picture. Phenomenal idea. And they even went so far as to put Velcro on the bottom of the big tower where the grandstand, the photographers, and they're going to put a drape on there. So when it comes up, you won't see what's behind it. Nothing has slipped by that I could see. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, hey, Don, I'm running short on time, but I want to leave you with two thoughts. And it's two quotes that we kind of live by now. And this was mentioned by Roger himself the day he took over on January 6th of 2020. And it was a quote that I took from his press conference when he addressed all three properties, IndyCar, IMS, and IMS Productions. We had a staff meeting when kind of the changing of the guard took place, and Tony George was there. Tony George Sr. was there. Roger and Mark Miles were there. And these are two quotes that I kind of took from that day. And Roger started by saying, you know what, sometimes good enough isn't good enough. And I think what came out of that was not to bash what the Holman family had done, but we're looking to be Penske perfect. That's what came out of that. So every day there's a pursuit of perfection that results in excellence around here. So that's kind of what we're striving for. Penske perfect is kind of what we live by each day now.
And I'll tell you what, the tour I got, you're spot on. You've got it covered. Continued good projects. Good luck. Thank you for your time. And I especially thank you for your tour, explaining stuff that we might not have caught that you knew about. Phenomenal job from everybody. It's great. I know the fans can't wait to get here. I heard from people that haven't been here in 15 years that we'll be here next year, want to see the place. So thanks for your time. I know you got a lot to do, and tomorrow's, if I'm not mistaken, Carb Day.
Yep. So tomorrow's Carb Day. We're putting the final touches on the track. We just installed pit lane signage. to get ready for Carb Day. We will be running 2 hours tomorrow as opposed to just the 1 hour that we usually do. And then we are dark on the track Saturday, and the race will be on NBC at 2:30 on Sunday. So unfortunately, you can't be here. We know that. But as a fan, we hope you guys tune in and watch on TV from home or wherever you may be.
Well, thanks for your time and the tour. I enjoyed it. It was phenomenal. And we look forward to down the road somewhere. And John Lewis will warn you about it. I might call you again.
Hey, no problem. Certainly appreciate you and Roger coming out. And thanks for your time today and having me on.
Thanks for being here, and look forward to a good weekend and more improvements. Thanks.
Let's go racing.
There you go. My guest has been Pat Garlock, who was the assistant manager for facilities and events, and you just heard what all of that includes. We will have some more guests. We'll be back again, so keep an eye out at autosportradio.com, and when the page opens up on the bottom of the screen, it says click here to see us. You can go in and see all of our interviews. So until the next time, Don Kay saying thanks. See you next.